I've got my videos up on the computer and I'm studying the road. It's the day before race day in the afternoon and the car's about as ready as it's going to be. It doesn't look like we're going to get to do any more practice for testing. So I'm making sure I know where I'm going on the road. Right along. We're starting at the start here and I don't need to leave the line full speed. If I do, it's actually a waste of energy. We're going to need every bit of battery that we've got all the way up. And the first corner, even before the start line, is too tight to go around there flat out. So I plan to leave with a less than dramatic start. And then once I get going, ease into it, ease the speed into it, which will save a lot of energy. We bear left and we go under the start gate. This first right-hander is flat out, but it's hard to do because your tires are cold and I don't really know for sure. I don't really trust the grip yet. But the Plaid is all-wheel drive and it's got Yokohama slicks. But it's so powerful, I don't know if it makes sense to do that flat. And I still don't know how flat I'm going to do it. We're going to play that by ear. You go a short distance up the road. There's a bend to the right that's less than 90, but it's long enough it needs late apex. We continue bending right and into a dip for one of the few uphill corners, which catches the car, but it's a late apex. Into a 90 left, which is faster than it looks. Kick back to the left for another 90 right with a guardrail on the outside that always makes me nervous. And then head into the right on the right side and we go into a series of S's. I'm paused for a moment. It's a left, right, left, which reminds me of autocross, like running a slalom or a set of offset gates. They're not together like offsets in an autocross. And you have to remember which is which. This first brake zone entering the first one, we're rolling again, we kick back right. It's a medium speed back to the left and then flat out around a short run that's blind around to the right. Brake hard, this one's a little tighter left. Stick to the left, back right and hug the right. We're going to go uphill and back to the left. It looks like a short straight, but it's not. You got a speed limit sign and then you turn in for another S curve. This one, pausing again, is a longer than 90 corner. Here I got in trouble the first year I ran Pikes Peak. I apexed it too early, got on the power and ran off the outside edge of the road. Ended up perched on top of the dirt bank. Got real lucky that we didn't go over it, didn't do any real damage. So now I always know, hold the inside, hold the inside. So we're holding it, then roll on that Plaid power, short run into kind of a faster uphill left. And this corner leads back right and we're heading for Engineers. That right is almost flat. Keep your foot in it. Faster, faster, 120. We indicate over 130. We go over a culvert. And that culvert is a sure sign that you're near your brake zone. Paused again here. And that you're going to have to brake not long after that. Because you cannot see the super tight hairpin that's coming up. And Engineers Corner is a place where a lot of people get in trouble, including the Cadillac XLR. I think it's called an XLR. Just yesterday that went flying off the road. You can find that online. And after the culvert, there's a short time, there's two cracks that run across the road, and I use the first one for a brake zone in the Plaid because it's so bloody fast. And in everything else I've ever driven here, this little kink is flat out. In the Plaid, I lift a little bit. I'm not sure it's going to stick. It'll get me offline for the brake zone. So super hard brake zone, all the way from 130 down to about 25 miles an hour, hard left. My video, there's a Porsche Cayman in the weeds that did the same thing. Paused again for a moment. On the day before this practice run, went straight off Engineers, probably thought he was heading for the picnic grounds, which is a flat out corner. So now, out of Engineers, super tight hairpin, we are heading for the picnic grounds. Rolling again, it bends right. Then there's another curve I'd love to do flat, but I can't quite. But it's important not to back off too much. Keep right. We're heading through a long, fast sweeper that leads on to Picnic Straight. This is where they have a time speed trap, long straight. At the speed trap, there's a couple of hay bales that mark a late break point. I'm going to try to get all the way to the hay bales because the next 90 left is kind of a little faster one. It's not real tight. You can carry speed up there. We have a wiggling straightaway, keep back right, major off-camber kink, It's hard to keep control. And then another off-camber kink leading into the brake zone for Brown Bush, which is the first switchback. Super tight corner. This is where the Plaid excels. All-wheel drive and electric torque and big power. We've got a sweeper with a mid-apex leading on a straight to what I call curb corner. It's not straight. There's a kink you got to do flat. Then curb corner is a mid-speed 90 right that leads to blue sky, which is a 90, more than a 90 left. Got to apex it late. And when it opens up, you can give it a squirt of power, and then it's going to bend down, and then bend down again more. And you're going through a tight right and a more open left on a short, hard run to Heitman's Hill. The second switchback, very much like the last one, leading to a sweeper left, very much like the last one, but a later apex. Hold the inside a little bit longer, then track out on the new piece of pavement. Immediate left to do the kink, going up the hill to Gilley's Corner. This is a long, fast straight, and we're pointed, pause for a moment, right at the pine tree that is a very late apex. You see it dead ahead, not apex, breaking point. The Plaid will not go to that pine tree, I don't think, and I don't want to find out. I'm going to brake a little bit before it because Gilley's is a tight corner back left. It's not quite a switchback, but it's tight and steep uphill, like most of this track is. Average incline, 7%. That's a lot. Maximum incline, I can't remember. I think it's 10%. Very steep. It is a hill climb, people. Rolling again. Into the brake zone, we see the brake marks. We got this tight, more than 90 left. Hard squirt. The electric power is so good on a hard squirt. Now we're in the ski area. Spectators everywhere on race day will look really different. It's a 90 right with a late apex. Now we're going to rookie corner. Know that way because in the early days, rookies used to drive straight off there. I haven't seen it happen, so maybe it's not as bad as it used to be. And they put up some orange fencing that actually makes it easier to see. But you got to tuck it back left. It's a 90 right, rolling again, late apex, hard acceleration on a long run. I'm paused for a moment because right here, the track on the way to the Sump looks exactly like the circuit one set of corners later on the way to the switchback below Glen Cove. This is where I got in trouble in the Nissan GTR during the race. Had a good run going and drove it right off the Sump. We're back flat out all the way. The Sump is a water catch area, and because of that, it doesn't look like there's anything alongside the road to give your eyes a clue the road's going to be turning real tight. The faster pastor, Don, I think Wickersham is his name, he went off last year in a 911 Cup car, and I call it out loud to myself every time I hit this straight so that I'll make sure that at least I won't make that mistake again. Rolling again into the Sump. It's a long 180. Hold it pretty tight because I don't trust the grip on the outside, and it tightens up a lot. From there into a nice, clean, even radius 180, and then you're heading on a windy straight going towards the switchback below Glen Cove, which right here looks exactly like going to the Sump, but here you see a guardrail and you know you're getting that switchback. Hard right, get that electric torque, short squirt, going into a long left-hander. Hold the inside, it gets tighter, tighter, and really tightens up before you gas it on the way to Glen Cove. This winding acceleration zone is something that we don't get to practice at all before the middle section. Now we're starting the middle section. We come by the guard shack at Glen Cove at 100 mile an hour plus, get on the brakes, and there's an off-camber corner that tends to be very dirty. And then up a straight hard acceleration run to George's Corner. It levels out, it plateaus, so don't brake too early. You can't see it until you get up on that plateau. George's Corner is a nice clean 180 that leads back right, a long, gentle right-hand sweeper of acceleration, heading by what I think is called Cade's Creek. There's a little kink in the end here, pausing again. This is an important spot for Plaid. One of the ways we can help keep our batteries cool is by running high speed with no throttle or maintenance throttle. So we're not off regenning, we're not on going to power maintenance, and that allows the batteries to cool. And this is a spot where that's going to happen naturally because I can't quite go through here flat in the dry. In the wet, cooling's not going to be a problem at all. We won't use as much power and we won't be going as fast. From there, we head into a 90-degree uphill off-camber left-hander. The exit speed is important because it's a long run up this hill. Starts bending towards Elk Park. It is a long, scary corner, and we're going through the tree line on the way up here, waiting for the gate to appear on the left, and then a yellow sign saying hairpin. That yellow sign's too late. You got to brake when you see it, not when you get to it. Super hairpin, one of the first real switchbacks above the tree line, leading to a flat out around the mountain. Now I'm pausing again because there are 3 corners that look exactly like this. 2 of them, you stay flat on the gas until you see a guardrail appear. The other one, you have to know you got to brake and turn. You don't see any clue. And we'll talk about it later. But this is on the way to Ragged Edge. We stay accelerating, probably get about 100 miles an hour on the way to this less than 90 right. It's actually a good corner. It's a fun corner because it's banked and it goes uphill right at the apex. Round the mountain we go. There's the guardrail. Always a relief to see the guardrail appear. Banked, uphill, carry speed through Ragged Edge, flat out run. Long, steep uphill climb, perfect for Tesla Plaid power. Into an off-camber corner. Again, this is going to be a maintenance throttle that helps cool the battery. Into the first of the 2 hairpins they call double cut. These are a nice, easy setup. You can see everything. It's not too tight. And the second part is a wider hairpin. It's not a full switchback, it's a hairpin. And we come out of there running hard. Now we're heading for the W's. 4 legs. The first one of these many hairpins where the Plaid just digs out in a hurry. You go right and you got to hug the inside longer than you think, accelerating because it's uphill, and then go flat out. Yes, that kink is flat out. You don't see anything but blue sky. This guardrail starts early, so you brake just before the guardrail starts. Second hairpin, a little tighter. You're in leg 2. This is critical because you run flat out around the mountain until you see the guardrail. Don't worry, you're in the right place. Stay flat, stay flat, stay flat, but don't be wrong. Hard on the brakes. Again, a hairpin back to the left. This will get brakes and batteries very hot. Flat out run around the right, short run. This guardrail starts later. You got to brake sooner. Hairpin number 3. This is the critical one. You better be right. It looks exactly like the other 2. You go hard, and then you just know you got to brake, bring it down, apex, and then accelerate hard. You're heading for 16 miles through a kink, off camber, a little dirty. Hold your foot down and just go. Big brake zone into 16 mile. It's a hairpin left. There's a little parking area to the left. Always amazes me they leave street vehicles there, but they do. And then another hairpin that's a little bigger than the other ones. You can carry more speed into what is pretty much my favorite corner. We're swapping into the upper section. There's a sweeper across the top that we never get to practice, and they usually park emergency vehicles on the outside. Always makes me laugh and roll my eyes. Through a kink, now we're heading for one of several high-speed sweeper lefts. Blue sky on the outside, mountain on the left. You wait for that peak to show up, then you wait to see the rocky field and get back on it. Downhill fast sweeper heading for the bottomless pit, and right there is the dip that crashed me last year and probably would have this year if I wasn't ready for it and being real careful. I've changed my line way to the outside. Supposedly they're going to repave this and fix it for next year because there won't be the big trucks going up to construct the Summit House. That's a great corner normally. It catches the car. Short straight. We got another sweeper left. It's up over a hill. It's not as slow as the other ones. You got to keep your speed up. It's just really scary and hard to do. Short run, a little bit of brake, another off-camber kink, heading for another blue sky sweeper left. Stay in the power, turn in when you see the mountains appear in the distance, and then wait a moment and get back to power. We got another sweeper left where I can back off for a bit and be maintenance throttle to cool the batteries at 100 miles an hour, and that'll help. Down through what I call Talladega, a fast banked corner heading up towards Boulder Park. We got a long run, big brake zone here, but they've been cooling through those sweepers. So the brakes should be just fine there. Flat out to the left, don't lift, short run into Boulder Park. Now tight corner, heavy braking, it's going to start getting really, really rough. Back, sweep right, another tight turn, hard braking, really, really rough. Scrape the splitter here in practice. In through the middle of Boulder Park, mid-speed, sweeper right, really, really rough. This is getting repetitious, but our Bilstein shocks do an amazing job. They're adaptive. Now we're really heading up. There's a kink with a late apex. Try to straighten that sucker out. Long pull uphill. We're getting over 130 miles an hour with a straight drop on the right. Down to mid-speed, a long sweeper left. Hug the inside at about 80 miles an hour. Straighten up. Now we're heading for cog cut. Very, very rough. Everything is rough up there. You wait till the poles appear and then you brake hard. Very rough. Cog cuts, sweeper left. Very rough again, but the Bilstein unplugged suspension does a really good job soaking it up. We're on the ground. Kinks around to the right, you can go fast. Then it tightens up a little bit, scares the crap out of you. Keep your speed up and then brake hard. This is Olympic corner. It's the very last switchback. You're almost home. Long sweeper left, very bumpy, long sweeper. Lost Carlin Dunn in this sweeper. There's the finish line. Boom. You made it. You won. You can go home a hero instead of a jerk like me a couple of times.